Hey there, drawing class. In this video, I'm going to just show you how to properly grid off your photocopy of the master painting that you've got so that we can do a compositional analysis of it in a couple of different ways. So it's not too complicated how to do this grid, just a 1-inch grid across the image. But there are a couple of points that need to be clarified and to make sure that you get the right results. So let's turn our attention to the image. Well, I'm going to be using a red Sharpie because it will show up really well, I think, on the video. And but you don't have to use a Sharpie, or you could use anything that makes a clear mark that you can see on the image. Okay, so let's look at the picture. So I'm using a black and white image, again, just to contrast with the red Sharpie so you can see it real well. Yours will be obviously a color image that you had printed earlier. Okay, so we're doing a 1-inch grid and we're gridding the image. Now, the reason I make that distinction is we're not gridding the paper. So the edge of my paper is right here. So that's the top corner of my paper. But that's not where I'm going to start my grid. I want to start my grid here, which is the top corner of the image. Okay? So I'm going to do this carefully. I'm going to line my ruler up along that top edge. Make sure that the 0 point is there. And I'm going to make a little mark at each inch across the top of the image. And the last one is a little less than 1 inch, but that's all right. Just make that tick mark there at the last full inch. Now, very important that you then go along the bottom edge. This is going to help to make sure that the lines you draw are straight. Also, I'm doing this on the wall. You could do this on a flat surface. It would probably be easier. Okay, so 1 inch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it looks like about 9 and 3/4 of an inch there at the end. Okay, so now I'm going to draw a line to connect the top tick mark with the bottom and go across the image. So one thing to point out is that it's very important that you don't turn the paper around. Some people, what they do is they do it across the top and then they flip the paper over and they do it across the bottom edge. If you do that, your partial grid line will be on the other side, and it'll mess you up. So just make sure that you hold the paper the same way, measure from left to right across the top and left to right across the bottom. All right, now let's measure down. Do the same thing. We're going to put tick marks along the left-hand edge of the picture. And look, we only get about one, we get about a half of one at the bottom. And then lean across here and put tick marks here every inch. And once again, we will connect the tick marks across the page. Or, let me correct myself, across the image. Really, we're not, remember, we're gridding the image not the paper, if that's a distinction that matters. All right. Now we're going to use this grid for a couple of exercises and something to do to help with navigating to make sure that you are able to work with the appropriate grid square. What we're going to do is we're going to add some little navigation labels. So what I'm going to do is down the left hand side I'm going to number these, and then 8 is little. So my rows will be numbered, and then I'm going to put letters across the top. So that way I will be able to find that, let's say this bird's head is in block 2C, and that there's a little frog here over there in 6H. So we can navigate that way. And that pretty much does it. That's the first step of this project, and that's what you need to do. And you have 2 images that you printed, and you just need to do this on one of them. We're going to keep one of the images clean without any markings on it, and we're going to have the other one gridded off. Okay? I hope that is clear, and I hope that makes sense to you. All right. I'll see you in another video very soon. I think I should add one more point, that your grids may not be precisely the same as mine. So when you measure and mark out your grid, you might not come out with exactly 9 3/4 by 7.5. Maybe yours will be a nice round number. Maybe it'll be 9. Maybe it'll be 10 by 8. Maybe it'll be slightly different proportions. It could be 9 by 6, 9 by 6.5. Could be variations of that. So yours is not expected to be precisely the same as mine. However, your grids that you make in the second video, they all need to correspond to each other. They don't have to be the same as mine. Perhaps you understood that, but I wanted to make sure I made that clear. Okay, that's all.